You are tuned in to the Gift of Gab podcast, a podcast where we are intentionally growing, accepting, and becoming the best version of ourselves. We focus on all things healing, wellness, spirituality, self-development, and bettering our relationship with ourselves and others. In every episode, we'll be reflecting on lessons learned through past experiences, setting goals, and helping each other reach our fullest potential. I am your host, Gabrielle Ariana, and welcome to this week's episode. Welcome back, you guys, to the Gift of Gab podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about life in your 20s, the quarter life crisis, and how society and social media pushes this agenda and this idea of what your life should look like. And I'm going to tell you guys my little story and how I had this epiphany of when I turned 25 years old. So for my 25th birthday, it was last year of 2022, because we're in 2023 now. I had two goals for my birthday last year, or two plans, I should say, for how I wanted to celebrate my birthday. And one of those things was going to California and going to the Kill My Name restaurant. And the second thing that I had planned, that is like all I really wanted to do, was go to the Tupac exhibit. Basically an exhibit to detailing like his life and all the things that he's accomplished and has done and contributed, within his career. And so going to the exhibit was a very emotional experience for me. I'm a huge Tupac supporter, and I love him so much. I love his music, his poetry, just watching his interviews, seeing how he speaks and how he shed so much light on so many things in the world, and just so much wisdom that was just filled with his spirit, and how he would, project that out to the world through his poetry, through his music, through acting, and through just his interviews. So I love him as an artist and overall as a person. And going to the exhibit, I was super excited, just to be able to get a glimpse of his life, even outside of the things that he's accomplished. And through the exhibit, it takes you basically down this I don't want to say a maze, but you're going through different time periods of his life, from beginning out with it actually starts with his mother, because she was a Black Panther. And so, anywho, long story short, going through it, you see the movies that he's played in, that he's acted in, his rap career, even the things that he's been been to jail for. It went through every single time period of his life, from the ages of really when he was 16, 17, when he first started out in his career with poetry and acting and things like that. And at the very end of it, there's a rose that is coming out of concrete. And that's one of my favorite poems ever, is The Rose That Grew from Concrete, which is written by Tupac. And going through the entire exhibit, seeing the wall of his poetry, his different ideas of businesses and things that he wanted to do, movies, producing, he had so many things in his head that he wanted to put out that he did not get the chance to do. And so watching that and being able to see that was so eye-opening for me. And it was also very it hit home, because I have all these different ideas and things that I want to do with life sitting in my notes. One of those things is this podcast. And, now that you guys are listening, you see that I've actually materialized it and brought it to fruition. But the thing is, what really kind of hit me was the moment I'm getting to the very end of the exhibit, and there's this walkway where there's a quote on the wall about roses that grow from concrete. And then there's this mist. It smelled so good. And once you turn left and you hit to the very end of it, there's the rose coming out of the concrete. But when I was walking there, reaching the end of it, something just hit me, where I was very emotional, and I literally started crying. And I'm just sitting here bro, why are you crying right now? And my friends there are you okay? And I'm just I'm okay. I'm happy. It's happy tears, but it's sad tears, but it's just so many different reasonings why I'm crying all at one time. And it just smacked me. I don't know what it was, but it just hit me. And it was crazy because this is my 25th birthday. And Tupac transitioned at the age of 25 years old. And I think for me, it was just really seeing all that he's accomplished within like 7 years of his life. Um, to have accomplished so much and have such an impact that he still currently have to this day by the age of 25 is like it's rare. Not many people can do that and can say that they've done that. And for me, have turning 25 that year, and I'm just like, bro. I think watching and seeing the wall of all the ideas and things that he like planned for himself, and 90% of those things not coming to fruition or materializing because once one he transitioned on, but it just made me reflect on like one, I started to feel in that moment like, girl, you haven't done anything with your life. Like, this man accomplished all these things just by the age of 25. What have you really done? And it just made me reflect after that. Like, that my 25th birthday was a time of reflecting. And it was a very, it was an eye opening experience for me to really reevaluate myself, my life, and the things that I actually have accomplished, because I've accomplished a lot. And I feel like when you're seeing so many people, that's whether they're in your same age or they're older than you, accomplish so many things for everyone to see, like in the public, like public figures, it's kind of discouraging when you're just an everyday regular person. It's not to say that they're not everyday people, because they are, but not everyone's watching you in your life. And so I just had to really sit with myself and reflect, like, sheesh, like, I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be the person who have all these ideas and things that I want to accomplish or just experience out of life and not have experienced them because I'm too busy allowing time to pass me by, because I'm too in my head in comparing myself with the lives of other people and how they're living their life or how they did live their life at the age of which I am now. And fast forward a year later, I am now 26 years old. And I feel like social media really pushes this agenda, social media and society, of how your life should look like when you're in your 20s. And honestly, just how your life should look like in general, 20s, 30s, 40s. It's like this expectancy that you should have accomplished or reached, depending on what, stage you are in life. But I feel like your 20s specifically, it's like this blueprint of, I go to graduate high school, go off to college, graduate college, get a degree. Now I have a job at this like Fortune 500 company making six figures. Then I meet the person, the love of my life. I get the picket fence, I get the house, I have the kids, nice car. Life is just bliss, and there's rainbows and roses. And it's like, that's not, going to be everyone's life. And nor should you feel like because you're in your 20s or even your 30s, that is what your life should be like because of what society and social media is pushing it to look like. And this is narrative that they keep shoving on everyone's throats. Like, God forbid you be in your 20s or your 30s and you're still living at home with your parents. Like, God forbid you not be in a relationship and you've been engaged, or you're engaged to be married and you have baby number 3 on the way and you're driving your nice car. Like, God forbid you don't have an 800,000 credit score. It's crazy that this is the type of world that we live in, and how society and social media really just shoves it down your throat. Like, this is what your life should look like. And if it doesn't look that way, then that means you failed as a person, and it means you're unsuccessful, and it means that the life that you're living now is less than, it's not amendable. But that's not true. Like, I've accomplished so much, and I've learned and accepted that my accomplishments are for me and me only, and is not to be spreaded to the world. Although if the world or other people get to see that, that's fine and that's okay. However, I don't live a life that is meant for me solely wanting to put it out there for other people to perceive it as something to then validate that's what success looks like, or you are deemed successful, or you're doing something with your life because I'm now showing them what I have done or I'm currently doing. And I don't know, I feel like, now with social media, it's like every 20 something year old, even their 30s, hell, some teenagers are like making so much money with social media, and they driving these nice cars. They're just uprooting and traveling across the country, and it's just a luxury lifestyle, whatever luxury really is. And I feel like that is something that is specific to each person. And I'm really big on like defining words, because I've learned through one how society and social media define things, what they equate as. It's not in alignment with how I define luxury, or how I define success, or how I define my life being meaningful and impactful, right? Because we have to debunk what society pushes out there, what social media puts out there, because a lot of what you see on social media, one, it's all about perception, right? And people are only going to show you what they want to what they want you to see, and they're only going to show you what looks good. People rarely show you the bad, right? Because even now in today's time, when you do show something, I don't even want to say use the term bad, but like if you're now in this time, you're 25, 8, 30 years old, and you don't have a place of your own, you're not driving a car, and you say that on social media, and there's all these people now flooding your comment section. Oh, you don't have anything going for yourself, and you're this and this and this. But it's just like, who are you to say that? Because half the people that's saying that's talking are probably in your shoes or worse. And I've learned that your 20s is not for having it all together. It's not having it all figured out. It's not for knowing what's going to happen next. And it's really not even knowing what the hell you want to do. Like, I feel like your 20s, even your 30s, whatever period you really are at in your life, just know that you're in that time, you're in that season for a divine reason. And whatever that season is for you, however it looks, do not feel as if you failed as a person, or feel so rushed and feeling like you have to be doing something more than what you're currently doing. Anything you're doing now should be enough, and it is enough, because it's allowed you and is allowing you to get to the person that you're becoming, the person that's going to be doing more than what you're doing now. I have learned that, reflecting on my life, everything that has happened to this point, and even my journey through my 20s, because I graduated college at the age of 24. So I only graduated college 2 years ago, which, doing that, even when I went to college, I didn't go to college straight out of high school, which is what everyone tells you to do. Go to college, get your degree, you're graduating by the time you're 21, working this job, that's paying you all this money, and you just have everything figured out, and that's how your life should look. So when I went to college, I was 20, and I had just turned 21 that semester. And I'm just like, bro, not me being a freshman with a bunch of like 17, 18-year-olds. This is crazy. So I went there with the mindset of, baby, I have to get in and get out. Because why am I still here right now? I should have been graduated at this point. So to be starting out in college, and my whole graduation class are high schoolers, and the class that I graduated high school with are just now graduating college, I felt like I was behind. And once I was there, I'm just like so rushed. I'm taking like 6 to 7 classes each semester so I can get in and get out. And granted, I actually did graduate early. I graduated in like 3 years, like 3.5 years, like, or something like that. I graduated early. So I went in with one class, graduated with a completely different class that was like before that class. So, I did what I intended to do, was get in and get out, but I also enjoyed the experience while I had it. And honestly, reflecting back on it, I would have loved the opportunity to experience it just a little bit more in a different way, without the mindset of thinking, oh, I shouldn't be, around these kids. Because one thing I learned in college is, baby, you can be any age in college, because it's college. Not every freshman and sophomore and junior and senior are the typical age. Some are 30, some are 50, some are 20. Like, I've met people who are old enough to be my auntie, my mom, like older brother, older sister. So, your journey is your journey. And another thing is realizing that the picture that you painted for yourself is probably not the best picture for you in your life and where your life is going. Because when I was in high school, I had this idea of like, I don't know why, but I just knew like I'm gonna have like either a high school sweetheart or no, because when I was in high school, I was like, yeah, no, there was no getting no high school sweetheart in high school. But I just knew in college I was gonna find some little college sweetheart because one of my favorite movies or two of my favorite movies is ATL and Stomp the Yard. So watching ATL, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to be a Spelmanite because Nunu was a Spelmanite. And watching Stomp the Yard was like, you're going to go to an HBCU. You're going to have that college boyfriend girlfriend experience. It's going to be something beautiful. Y'all going to have kids. It's just going to be bliss, right? Absolutely not. That is not what my experience was, nor that was that what my experience needed to be. And I planned so much things of like what I would have accomplished and had by this point. As a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, like as far as career goes, because I am a creative. I am very talented. I am a multi hyphenated and multifaceted individual. And there's just so many things that I love to do. So I never had like one specific thing when it came to career. So I couldn't ever be like, even now, this is what my career is going to be. No, I simply do what I want to do and what feeds my soul in the season that I'm in. And that's just, how I am as a creative. However, I feel like when you are in high school, you are pushed to start painting a picture for yourself for how your life is going to look in your 20s, but also beyond that. And when we get into our 20s and now you're 25, 26, or even 30, and you reflect like my life don't look like anything like what I painted it to be. So I failed as a person. And it's like you didn't fail. And there are people who do have that lifestyle, or their picture that they painted is what it actually turned out to be, where it was graduate, go to college, get the degree, get the nice paying job, get the husband, get the wife, have the kids, have the nice car, travel, do all those, great things. And that was divine for them to be their life. That was supposed to be how their life was supposed to span out. So I just feel like it's essential to, one, really debunk and get rid of all of the things that have been thrown in our faces. Your 20s is for unlearning the shit you learned in school, because a lot of that is a bunch of BS. The stuff that you some of the things you learn in college, society, what it puts out, unlearning yourself, parts of you, unlearning, the ideologies and belief systems that have been placed upon you, whether that's through your family, through religions, through spirituality, through the people that you meet, through a job. Like, there is so much that from as a kid to growing up, where we don't have a lot of control on the information that we're receiving, nor do we even know in those times that the things that are being told to us and being shoved in our faces, what it really is, until you grow older and you get a different perspective on life. You've really experienced life and been able to allow your experiences to determine your mindset and how you shift your mindset. And my 20s, reflecting on them now up until this point, have really been unlearning myself, debunking any limiting beliefs that I've had, really reevaluating the things and belief systems and ideologies, philosophies that's been placed upon me or put in my face, and realizing that my journey is for me and me only. And it's not to be compared to the next person. It's not to please the next person either. It's only for me and me only, for me to be happy and me to be satisfied, and for me to deem myself a success, whatever that looks like for me. And as for you, what does success look like for you in your life? Because if someone were to ask me right now, and we're going off of like the ideologies and the way society and social media projects this way of living life in your 20s and your 30s and 40s, it's like how you should live life now is just, you should have all these things or have accomplished all these things. Really, you should be living your life to please everyone else so they can validate the life that you're living. But no one is living your life. The vast majority of people in their 20s or in their 30s would be deemed unsuccessful because they don't, own a house, or they don't drive a freaking Tesla. They don't have six figures. They don't have an 800,000 credit score. They're not married. They don't have kids. Like, you can't uproot and just travel the country and ask crack of dawn and make a video on TikTok for everyone to see. Or you don't have a high-rise apartment with the big windows, granite countertops. You're not successful. You don't have the nice Balenciaga bag. You're broke. It's crazy, the world that we live in. And I feel like everyone is just living for other people. You need to be living for yourself. And your 20s is what shapes you to the person you're becoming. And it shapes you for the rest of your life. And I feel like this time is very important to really sit with yourself and write down the things that you have accomplished and that you're proud of. And it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing of, I graduated college. Because after going to college, y'all, depending on what you're graduating or going to college for, or you're majoring in, college is really like, it don't have any meaning anymore. A degree does not matter. It really don't. It just doesn't. So, yeah, I can say I graduated college, but it's like, I did that for reasons other than really getting a degree. It was more of a personal thing for me and just, my family. But that's an accomplishment for me. And even if you don't graduate college, even if you didn't graduate high school, that doesn't mean that you failed and that you're unsuccessful. It doesn't. Everyone's journey is different. The most successful in the eyes of, society, or rich people, it's even that word, I don't align with the basic definition that most people use for it, didn't graduate college or didn't, drop out of high school, but they're still successful. And there's people whose life of their career and their journey of attaining success in the things that they define as success mostly starts at your late 20s, early 30s. But even if it don't start until your late 30s or 40s, it's your journey and it's your life that you're living. And it's not to be compared to no one else. It's not. It's because only you are filling your own shoes. Hell, and only you know how to fill your own shoes. People can talk so much, but they're not the ones that have to live your life. They don't have to experience the things you're experiencing. They don't have to feel the emotions that you have to feel. They don't have to do the work that you're doing. Some of them can't do the work. They don't have the capacity to do it. And I've learned that, your experiences shape you, and the versions of you that you are unlearning, and now the versions of you that you're becoming, is the exact person that is going to get you to all of those things that you thought you would have accomplished at this point. It's literally divine timing and alignment for you and your journey and where you're at, for you to experience what you have experienced to this point, to be in the exact moment that you're currently in season that you're currently in, for you to reach whatever goals or plans or things that you want to accomplish and experience and to receive out of life. I promise you. Because had I not had the route that I've had taken within my 20s of going to college at 21, graduating at 24, I wouldn't even be able to tell you guys this story right now that I'm telling you. To say that I learned these things at this time. And in those moments, I'm over here like, girl, you're a failure. You're behind. You need to catch up. There is no playing catch up. Like, God said you're on time. You're at the right space and time right now. And there's so much that we just don't know in life. And we feel like we should know more. We should be doing more. You are doing exactly what you need to be doing. And you know exactly the amount of information and experience, the amount of things you've experienced now that you are going to utilize to take you to where you're going next. There is so much beauty in the unknown. And I feel like when you're in your 20s, you feel like you just need to know it all. You need to know everything. That was my thing. I had to know what was going to happen next. I was a planner. I used to plan everything down to a T. Everything, my entire life. Hell, I used to plan other people's life. Like, I was like, oh, this person's going to do this and this. No, ma'am. God said that's not what's going to happen. It's going to happen, just not how you painted it out to be. And that's fine. And that's okay. That was a part of my journey to really accept the art of the unknown. Because when you accept the art of unknown and the energy of not knowing anything, you allow so much room for miracles. You allow so much room for possibilities of the things that you literally could not have fathomed, that you could not have imagined for yourself. I promise you, the picture that God has painted and the puzzle that God has put together is 20 times better than the one that you have already created in your own head, and how you allow society or social media to determine what you think that picture should look like. Or your family even. I feel like, a lot of us have the weight of our family on our backs, especially when you're like the first generation, or you're the first person in your family to be doing something different and to be paving the way, when you're the trailblazer, the golden child, the chosen one, whatever y'all call it. That's a huge shoe to fill, and not everyone can fill it, and it's not even very many people who have the shoe to begin with. But that's a different topic for a different day. However, I want to leave y'all with this, right? I want you to really sit with yourself. Take 5 minutes, breathe, meditate. Even replay your life up until the point of where you're at now in your head. And write down the things that you have accomplished for yourself and the things that you consider a win. Not what society or social media says is a win. Don't think because you ain't got no car and you're not out here whipping it, or you can't just uproot and go to Dubai for 5 days, mean that you're not winning. You are winning at something. And you'd be surprised how many people are watching you and seeing the thing that you have accomplished as a success that they commend you for. But they just haven't told you. That's another thing I've learned too. You never know who's watching. So just like you're watching other people and probably unconsciously comparing yourselves to them and their lives, that same person can be looking at you like, damn, she's happy and she don't even have all these things that society and social media says that we should have. But she's happy and she's doing what she loves doing, or he's being creative, or he has paved the way for his family, so for each person it's different. But really sit and think, what have I done that I am proud of? And what are the things that I thought that I would have completed at this point that I have not? Because I was putting myself on this timeline or this clock of what I should have accomplished at this point. Really reflect and give yourself your flowers. Feel proud of the season that you're in, and feel proud and happy for all that's coming for you and that's going to be happening for you. And allow room for God to do what God is going to do. That's the unknown. That is the unknown. The unknown of the things that you don't know about, or what it is, or where it's coming from, or how you gonna get it. That's God's. That's all God has to worry about, and that's for God to worry about and for God to move. It's not for you. We are not supposed to know it all. We're not. That's not a life that's worth living, having to know everything at all times. Because you're not going to allow God to surprise you. Allow God to surprise you. Allow God to move into your life. And thank God for where you are at, because wherever you're at, you are supposed to be there. I promise you. And years from now, you're going to reflect and say, damn, I was in shambles at this point in my life because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Whole time, I didn't do X, Y, and Z then because maybe you weren't even ready for it. And you weren't the person that you needed to be just yet for you to be where you are at in that moment, to reflect on the person that you once were and the time that you once had. So that is today's episode, y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. I shall see y'all, or I shall talk to you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gift of Gab podcast. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at @thegiftofgab_pod. I will speak to you all next week. Thank you guys so much. Continue to grow, accept, and become someone greater than you are now.